welcome back to the Jack and Glen channel. I'm Jackie.
And I'm her husband, Glen.
He's my husband, Glen.
Hey, before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell notification so you don't miss any of our reviews. Tonight, Ready to Love Potomac, episode number 2. And Tommy is throwing curveballs already throwing curveballs, which I don't understand why they are curveball. I don't understand this curveball and the curveball for next week. Doesn't that make any sense to me?
You should have just started with 10.
Should have just started with 10. If you're going to keep adding people, Tommy throws a curveball and tells them they're going to be going on blind dates. And they're adding 2 people to the process.
Mm-hmm.
1 man and 1 woman. And I'm sitting there thinking, why don't you started with 7. You normally start with 10. Why do you just add them in the beginning to the process in the first place?
Right.
The show's running out of ideas.
Yeah. So as usual, after we had the mansion, where everybody has their little meet and greet. Next is the brunch. And so it's brunch time. And so Tiffany kind of goes in there, not like to see her though. She goes in like, I'm trying to figure out why my name was on the bottom, she said, I'm going to focus on Wiley. So like I said, I don't like to see it. To see it walked in like, why y'all vote me like that?
Y'all lying. Y'all be lying. Y'all know y'all always feeling me. I thought I made some connections.
Right. So Tiffany went in with that mindset, but like she really didn't attack it. But she said her thing is she's focusing on Wiley.
Yep.
And so she's sitting at the table chatting with Wiley, and Dakia walks up to the table.
Mm-hmm.
And so she says, you know what? You look familiar to me. I feel like I know you. And so she says, are you Chuck Brown's son? And Wiley's like, Chuck Brown, who's that?
Who's that?
Is he somebody famous or something? And at first it was sounding, it was like, okay, your silence says everything. So that's definitely it.
And for those of you who know Chuck Brown, Chuck Brown is the founder of Go-Go in the Washington, D.C. area. I think we talked about it a little bit on the last review, but he is the Go-Go godfather. He's the godfather of Go-Go, right? The originator.
May he rest in peace.
May he rest in peace. So,
but yeah,
he's a legend. He's a legend in the DC area.
Absolutely.
And if you're from DC and you're in tune with Go-Go, you know Chuck Brown.
If you're not from DC and you're in tune with Go-Go, you know who Chuck Brown is.
Yeah.
So just as a side note, like Tiffany didn't know.
Which I don't even understand. She's from Emporia. That's less than 200 miles away from DC.
But she know about Go-Go. But I was like, how you don't know? Like Chuck Brown is the godfather of Go-Go. Like,
yeah.
Anyway, so his thing is that, I never like to lead with the fact that I'm Chuck Brown's son. And he said, because, like a lot of famous folks or with famous parents, they're like, I wanted, then it confuses it. Like, are you into me for real? Or is it just my name? And so he said he don't like to lead with that. And, they kind of, they didn't broadcast it, they kind of
kept it to themselves.
Yeah.
And blew over. But of course, that is definitely key. You want people to like you or love you or be with you for you, not for what you can get them or bring them or provide for them. You want them to understand who you are. Mm-hmm. And so I definitely understand him being low key about that, especially in DC.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in that area because he is legend, his royalty.
Mm-hmm. So while at the brunch, Tommy comes in and he lets them know, I'm throwing the curveballs early. We want to test the quality of your connections, but we also want to stir in the quantity. And so he said, I'm gonna be introducing 1 man and 1 woman. But unlike the previous season where they came out to the pool party, he's setting them up on blind dates. And so he picks the person or the 2 people that would go out on the blind date. And he picks what is what he said? He said they're not coming right now. They're gonna come in old school on a blind date.
Yeah, because everybody was looking like where they at? Because they know the show. Like, okay, they're coming out. We saw Sean and we saw what's her name come out last week.
Sydney.
And Sydney come out last season. They came out at the pool party. Like, oh, here we go. Everybody looking around. No, wrong answer. Mm-hmm. Not this time.
Gonna be on a blind date. And so he said, I'm picking 2 people that I feel like, will get to the nitty gritty with it. So he picked Ace to go out with the new guy, mm-hmm. and then picked Laverne to go out with the new lady. Cause he was like, Laverne, I know you know how to talk and I know how you know how to ask questions, but ask questions and then wait. Give somebody else a chance to talk. He was like, okay, I can do that.
Because Laverne to talk. Laverne be talking, y'all.
Yeah, he is. And so he also lets the guys know at the end of the week, we're gonna meet at the lounge to see who's gonna be eliminated. And so Ace says, in having a conversation with Clifton, he was like, so how you feeling, about the blind date and just the process in general? She was like, I'm a little bit nervous, but I think it's gonna be okay. And so Clifton says, he's a little jealous that she's going on a date with the new person, because he wanted to have a date with her too.
Yeah, he wanted to talk to her.
Yeah, he wanted to talk to her too. So then we see Dakia talking to Demetrius. And she was like, basically, I really like your vibe. I like what you got going on. And she said, you got BDE. And he was like, BDE. And so her vignette, she was like, he got big D energy. You figure out what the D is. Well, I mean, just by saying D, let us know what it is.
Yeah, that's what he said.
But I'm like,
what I thought she said
Demetrius
first, though?
got BDE?
Man, being from that area, I thought she said BGE.
Okay, right.
I hold on, let me go back. BGE? You got Baltimore Gas and Electric? Like, what the world? That's what came to my mind, but I had to get that.
I know, I didn't hear the D at first either. I was like,
BGE? What we got BGE for?
What is that?
I can tell I lived in that area for a minute. If you know what BGE is, right? Oh, man. I was like, what in the world? But nah.
Yeah, that's not what she said.
Nah, not what she said.
But anyway, so then we see Tiffany and Wiley. And they talk about how, they have real easy conversation. And, it's a draw, but he wants to make his rounds. Like, he doesn't want to get stuck there.
Yeah.
But he is feeling her. And so while he's talking to Tiffany, Mr. Kia, kind of, slides in. She's talking about Wiley. And she was like, he's a little bit young for me. I might be a Puma. I might turn into a Puma. He said, but it's a little draw there, like she's feeling them. And so they go off to the side and have their little conversation. They had a little conversation, and she said, he hit me with the Wiley eye. He said, and he was like, what, did I? She was like, you hit me with the Wiley eye. I was like, girl, leave that young man alone.
Hey,
leave that young man alone.
She wants that young fella, dog.
But
that young football AC Virginia Tech fella.
But anyway, they end up leaving the brunch together. And so then we see Joy and Clifton. And so Clifton's like pulled Joy aside. We already know Clifton's feeling Joy. She's feeling him. It's very obvious.
Clifton wants Joy.
Yeah. And so, he wants to sit down and chat with her. He was like, because I ain't had no time to talk to you the whole time. And so I guess Joy kind of gets up like it's time to go. And the producer's like, it's time to go. He was like, now look. He said, it ain't time to go yet. I ain't get my 5 minutes. I'm going to get my 5 minutes.
I'm going to get my 5 minutes.
And he was like, you going to sit down right here.
And Joy was like, hold on. Man, he wants me. I like a man who be like, hold up. You want to spend time with me? Women. Right. You should want a guy, and he wants to spend time with you. And Clifton like that D-boy. Hey, I get my 5 minutes.
Yeah. And so he was like, oh, you ain't give me no hug today. And so he, they have a nice warm embrace, like he almost pick her up off the ground type of thing. And he was like, the fact that he wants to spend time with me, he's gonna get his time. And the hug and everything. She was like, that speaks volumes. Like she really feeling
she was feeling that.
So then the next thing we see is Laverne going on a blind date.
Real quick. Because funny thing at the end of that Clifton, they were like, okay, we got to go. He said, no, I'm going to stay right here and they're going to keep filming.
We're going to keep hugging and they're going to keep
filming. We're going to keep hugging and they're going to keep filming. And I mean, he was serious about embracing joy. Everybody likes a little joy in their life. That's what it is. Everybody likes a little joy. So
just the second joy
they've been on the show. Yeah. Let's see how this works out for her.
Yeah. So we see Laverne go on the first blind date, and he was like, I want to get there first, so I don't have no surprises when I see her coming in. I'll be like, okay, what's up. And so we're introduced to Carmen. Carmen is 43. She's in brand management for athletes. And she said, I'm a boss. I'm on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so she says she's ready for love, but that interferes, being so into her business, it interferes with her love life.
Yeah,
So
she's the boss is busy. I mean, you're dealing with athletes and dealing with their brand and dealing with marketing and agents and dealing with all that. You stay on your toes.
So she says, I'm ready for love, and I want somebody to, kind of interrupt my regular flow. And so when she comes in, he was like, I'm gonna give you a hug. I'm a hugger. And she was like, yeah, me too. And he was like, his first impression was on the looks and everything. Tommy got it right. He was like, girl,
she's thicker than a Snicker.
Yeah, he said she was thicker than a Snicker.
Thicker than a Snicker. Y'all never heard that term, man. That means she was banging.
Well, I mean, she had the hips, the butt,
hips,
the
thighs, and everything. He called her hourglass, and she was like, "Yeah, I work out 5 days a week."
Yeah, and he was like, "Well, I work out 6 days a week." She was like, "What is this, a competition?" He was like, "No, I'm just saying. I was a bodybuilder, and they talked about that, and he was like, "See, can't you tell from my thighs? See my big thighs and my glutes, and
I can't wear no skinny jeans.
I can't wear no skinny jeans." And she was like, "Oh, he real proud of his physique." I had to touch on feeling on your booty. Shit, and they show her like grabbing his butt cheeks, like
she was really grabbing his butt.
Yeah, that was a bit much.
She wanted to make sure his glutes were what they were.
Yeah. Oh, the one thing she said that we laughed at. So he was like, "I usually don't do blind dates or whatever," and so she's like, "Okay,
someone popped your cherry."
No, I popped it.
I popped your cherry. He was like, "Yeah,
he's
popped
like,
it."
"Yeah, I guess so. You popped it. You popped it real good.
Real good. Yeah.
It's a good cherry to pop."
Sexual innuendos in this whole conversation. It was,
and of course we had to ask our teenager, because that's an old school term. I was like, "Do they still say that?" And our son said they do.
Yeah, he said they do.
They do. I was like, wow, that's still being perpetrated.
Yeah, they're still saying that. Like, that's one of those sayings are never gonna end.
Man, but anyway, she talks about how she's from Ashburn. She's prior Air Force, and it turns out Laverne is former Air Force as well. Right. And so they talk about, have you ever been married before? Do you have any kids? They've both been married before.
Yep.
Laverne says he's been divorced for about 10 years, and he has 2 daughters. And Carmen says she's divorced. She's got one amazing son, and she was like, he's my everything. I focused on him. And Laverne shares that he would like to get married again. And so they talk about that some, and he asked her a question like, okay, so say, how do you check your man? How do you keep your man in check? Say I'm out in public and I'm gonna get a little out of pocket, how you get me back in check? And she said, I walk up to him and whisper in his ear,
and he was like, can you
and she said, baby, you tripping. I don't have to do that to you.
Oh, I thought we want to reenact it. See,
no.
I thought you were gonna whisper in my ear.
No,
that's later. Anyway, excuse me.
She said, "Baby, you tripping." And he was like, "Oh, okay, I get it." But all in all, he said they had an amazing date. And Carmen said so too. But she's interested to see everyone else.
Right.
And she don't want to get caught up in that. And he gave her a kiss on the cheek.
And she's like, "Oh, you try to get to my lips, aren't you?"
I think he was.
He said, "Well, that's not the first date. It's not on the first date, but maybe
maybe a second date.
Second or third date, but we'll get there."
Yeah.
And she laughed it off, but he said he liked the girl. He liked the woman who was kind of aggressive, who was able to, give it to him like he wanted. Check it out. Check me out. Hey, check me, but do it respectfully. Right. And reel me back in. So it was good. You can feel the chemistry between the two.
For sure.
You can feel the chemistry.
So then next we meet what Ace is going on her blind date. And so we see Cornelius.
Not
another Cornelius.
Not to be confused with Cornelius from season 5. No. He's already hooked up with Camille.
Yeah. So we see Mr. Cornelius coming in. He's 41. He's a real estate agent, real estate investor. He said, "I'm a multimillionaire." People think $1 million is a lot until you have it. It's really not that much. I was like,
whatever, bro.
Right.
It's what you do with it.
He said
you deal with it.
He's never been married. He's gotten close though. And he's had to admit I was a problem for, why it never got to that point. And he says now, I've been through therapy and, worked on myself. And so now he can see the value in it.
Translation, I'm a reformed player. I don't do that anymore. I don't crush a lot. I'm just going to be sticking to one woman right now. Translation, I mean, he messed up. He said he messed up. So what you means to me, when a man said he's messed up and he was on his way to altar, he cheated.
Or not cheated. He might be like one of those guys that I never really put any label on it. I had a lot of women. And so I kept it basic, and so I never appointed anybody as the main person. Can't cheat on them if you ain't.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he said now, he's focused now. He wants kids. And he was like, they call me Cousin Cornbread. And he looked like he eats cornbread. Big. I felt the same way. I was like, teddy bear looking bruh. Okay. Bald head. Did they say that last season or that's this season?
Last season was bald and beard.
Yeah. The B and the B, the bald and the bearded. So we got quite a few of those on here so far, a couple. But anyway, so he said they call him Cousin Cornbread and he's ready to have some little corn muffins.
Well, that's some little corn muffins. He wants some corn muffins.
That was cute.
He wants somebody that has some corn muffins.
He wants somebody that has some corn muffins. So when Ace sees him, she's like, oh, he's handsome. She told him, your eyes are charming. He was all like, that's a new one. Never heard that. She said he just looks cuddly and safe. And he seems like he's very grounded. And, they talked about, what do you want out of this? And, she's like, I want a long-term connection. He said he wants a long-term connection. And, she said she had to go through her healing process to be prepared for love, but she's ready for it now. Yeah. And, he was like, I'm with that. I'm all for promoting, mental health and getting yourself together and self-care and everything. And she talked about how she's big on meditation. Yeah. And she asked him, what makes you happy? And he was like, the ocean breeze, relaxation, new money, and great sex.
And he slid that in and look, bro was smooth. He said new money, great sex. And it was like, oh, he said great.
Yeah, she was like, hold on, wait a minute.
Don't just slide that in there. He just slid it.
He was like, that's an important thing. And he says he's an affectionate type of person. He said, I could do a little PDA. I come snatch you up. Yeah, I grab you up. Yeah. And he said in his vignette, he can't really relate to people that don't have sex at least as one of the top priorities. And
we find out.
It got to be the bomb there.
And we find out a little bit later why he says that, because him and somebody connects because they both are willing to try it first.
Yeah. But Ace said she enjoyed the date. She, and Cornelius said, we'll definitely do it again. And they actually exchanged. She was like, he said, let me lock your number in. He got a number.
He was like, dog, let me get that number right now.
Yeah. So he locked the number in. So the next date we see Joy going out with Paul, or P.O. And
no, we're not calling him P.O. here. No, we're not calling him P.O. I'm not calling another grown man.
Probation officer.
I ain't calling another grown man P.O.
So they go out, and so he's like, I got your favorite drink. And she was like, you got my favorite drink. And like, he really ran it down. Vodka, soda, a little bit of lime. And she was like, you're right, you got it. You remember.
He remembered.
And Joy says she really likes Clifton, but she doesn't want to put all her eggs in one basket. So that's why she really agreed to go out with Paul.
Yeah.
And so Paul asked her a question, was like, what does settling down look for you? Because I know you're a professional singer, you're out on the road a lot. So what does settling down look for you? And she was like, it would mean for her, it would be difficult for her because she doesn't, to just be in one place, and the term almost kind of makes her cringe. So settling down.
I wanted to touch
with that.
I wanted to touch on that one because she doesn't want to be in one place. I mean, she can have a home basis being DC, Maryland, Virginia, whatever case may be, but she likes the travel lifestyle, and she likes to be out on the road with her band because she's a singer. She likes to be in different cities on a different night, at different times, at different places. And if you want to be with her, that's part of her lifestyle. Mm-hmm. He says, he wants to settle down, have a family, and wants to be at home. Well, she ain't there yet. And I think you said it when we was doing it, like, that ain't gonna work. You asking her from take away from what she loves to do in order to appease you. Nah, that's not gonna work. And and I'm not even talking about marriage, just in a relationship. In this relationship, that's not gonna work.
Yeah. And in the end, Joy said that Paul was a good guy, but her connection is somewhere else, and we know it's with Clifton.
It was Clifton.
So on the flip side, we see Clifton go out with Dakia. And she's excited. It's her first solo date. She said he's been on her mind. And Clifton says in his vignette, Joyce, his biggest, strongest connection.
She's number one.
But he feels the chemistry there with Dakia. And, they hadn't had this much time to spend with each other. So, they wanted to do that. And she came in with her camo. She said, because I'm ready to fight for this.
I'm ready to fight for this.
And he was like, I like you in that camo. Okay.
Yeah, she was down. I mean, she looked nice, and the restaurant where they was at was cool. And he had a good, they had great conversation. They was really in tune.
Yeah, and this is where you got it mixed up. It wasn't Cornelius, it was Clifton.
It was Clifton. Oh yeah, my bad.
Clifton and Dakia had a conversation. He asked her, "How do you feel about premarital sex?" And she says, "Yes, please."
Yes, please. She said she wants to try it out.
She got to test drive it.
She got to test drive it before she can keep it home. Take it home, stay with it. She wanted to play with it, and she wants to make sure everything works. What?
She want to play with it. Anyway, she said she want to test drive the car before she buy it.
Yep,
that's what she said.
And Clifton said he's
Clifton
down.
Was like, "Yeah, I feel the same way."
I feel the same way.
So all in all, they said they had a really good date. Oh, one thing I wanted to point out at the beginning of the date and at the end. I told you, I was like, man, the way he grabbed her up and hugged her at the beginning, I said he grabbed her up like he's going to pick her up. Well, at the end, the hug when they left, he did. He grabbed her up and picked her feet up off the floor.
He's about 6'4", 300 and some pounds. She about 5, I'm going to give 5'3", 5'4", maybe 5'6" in heels. Maybe 120, 125 pounds.
No, I think she weighed more.
All right, I give her 150. So he scooped up. Yeah, he's
strong.
He's strong. You good?
But they said they had a lot of fun. But Joy is still the first lady.
Joy is still the first lady.
But he said he could have lots of fun with Dakia. So the next thing we see is the first group date. We see Paul with Cornelius, and then Precious, Tiffany, and Sabrina. And so this is the first time some of the other ladies are seeing Cornelius.
Yeah.
And Sabrina said, looking at Cornelius, I was like, oh, he looks like a nice little teddy bear. She likes his energy or whatever. And so they're playing ping pong. And Paul is like, I'm a ping pong beast.
He said, I'm a ping pong beast. I did this before. And he thought he was at Wimbledon. He was ready.
Yeah, he was hitting the balls right past the ladies.
Cornelius like, nah, dog.
He's like, yeah, that's not. I'm not that serious.
I'm not that serious right now. It's the ladies. They gotta win. Plus, the ladies had heels on.
Yeah, that's what he said. He was like, you can't play that hard. You gotta let the ladies win.
Let the ladies win
a little bit. But Precious goes to talk with Paul.
Yeah.
And she says she's had her eye on him for a while. And they talk about the fact that, do you feel like sometimes you can be a little bit rigid? And he was like, my thing is I'm purposeful and, I'm tactful. And, some people like sugar before the salt. And he said, but you like, you like it rough.
Like it rough.
She was like, okay.
Give me like you want a no chaser.
Yeah. And so while they're chatting, then we see Sabrina and Tiffany talking to Cornelius, and they're like grilling him, asking him all kinds of questions.
All kinds of business. Like what you do for a living? Where you at? This, that, and the other. They really.
So you from DC? Do you still live in DC? Yeah. What's your ultimate goal in a life partner or a wife? And this is Tiffany asking this question. And he was like, I could go whichever way. If it's a life partner or a wife, he said, to me, it's kind of interchangeable. It should be like the same. And Tiffany says, no.
Not for me.
I want a husband. She paddle down, she slammed it down. I want a husband.
See, this is where I kind of agree with Tiffany. What she wants, I agree, but her reaction, I disagree with.
Right.
Because she could have said it in a way that it was non-combative. She could have said it in a way that it wasn't too aggressive. Mm-hmm. She could have said it in a way to, Cornelius, that's fine, man. You want that, but you know what? I want somebody who is my husband. Or I came from a traditional family. I want a traditional relationship with a traditional husband. You know what I'm saying? Not person that way today he doesn't feel like being with me. Guess what he's not going to do? He's not going to be with me.
Right.
She wanted commitment. And she could have said it that way, but she didn't say that way. And she caused a ruckus, and he never forgot that.
Yeah, he was like,
He made a mental note about
note to self.
Note to self. She crazy.
So then, since Tiffany's like, no, I want a husband, she kind of walked away from that conversation, and she goes and sits in with Precious and Paul. Yeah. And his question to her is, are you into spoken word? And she was like, I mean, I could deal with it. He was like, so if you were at a spoken word show, like, what would you call your show? And she was like,
what? I'm not even, she wasn't even asking me the question, but I sat there and like, what is he talking about?
I don't know.
Like, dog, you don't have too many drinks.
Right.
Like, something ain't right. You're on camera asking, you was in spoken word show. What would you call your spoken word? What if she said she didn't do spoken word? What was the next conversation going?
Right. And then he said, so, when you're at the supermarkets, how do you greet, or do you greet the cashier? And, she was like, what's the point? He said, I'm just trying to get a feel of what kind of person am I talking to? Are you friendly? Are you not friendly? With the spoken word thing, like, what do you describe your life as? What do you describe yourself as? I get what he was trying to say, but it do kind of come from left field. It did kind of come from left field.
What kind of culture? Where you at culturally? Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
But he said, I couldn't really get more than surface with her. So he said that's why he was asking the questions, because I'm trying to get to know you.
Try to pull some things out. Try to get some information that I need to make so I can make an intelligent decision.
Yeah. So then we see another group date with Clifton. Clifton said he asked Tori, Joy, and Ace out.
Yep.
And then Carmen is coming as well. They're going to an indoor driving range. Mm-hmm. And he knows there's elimination coming this week. And so, he wants to explore all the options, and then again introduce this is an opportunity for Carmen to be introduced to everybody. And he says, Carmen came in, she was like, boom, pow, like, whew. He said, only thing is, she had contacts. He said, I looked at her, she had contacts. And I was like, what's wrong with contacts? But then they showed it. Oh, she got colored contacts.
And she looked like.
And he was like, it was distracting. He said it was like looking in the face of
baby Jesus. Now I said to myself, brother, been to a lot of folk house where they had that white Caucasian Jesus on the wall with his blue eyes. And then they got nerve to show a picture of her with her blue eyes.
That's what he playing on. It's just looking like, I feel like I'm looking at baby
Jesus. I feel like baby Jesus. So you can't talk dirty to baby Jesus.
I said, boy.
You can't rub on her when she's looking like baby Jesus. You can't grab. So I understand what he was saying. He was like, look, man, I can't do this. I can't do this.
But then we see Carmen striking up a conversation with Tori. Mm-hmm. And she said, I think Tori's handsome, but she said, I'm not into dreads. And Ashley, honey, we call them locks more so,
right?
More than dreads. But she was like, I mean, there's no judgment there, but judgment.
Judgment.
And it's fine. If you don't like it,
somebody else will love it.
You don't have to like it,
Yeah, but if you don't like it, somebody else will love it. Somebody else will be willing, especially on this show, being willing to take that guy. Mm-hmm. And so she had to understand that she's cool with that.
Yeah,
she's cool with that.
Yeah, and so like I said, they're at the indoor driving range, and so a couple of the guys having a little problem hitting the ball, and so they were like, Carmen, can you help them out? Do you play golf? She was like, in her vignette, do I play golf?
See, I'm
the golf queen.
What? I realize she's a businesswoman,
right? And a lot of that stuff takes place.
And she deal with athletes. Mm-hmm. She's on the golf course more than she probably is in her office. Mm-hmm. Because that's what they do. They make business deals on golf courses.
Yeah.
And so she's willing to deal, and she played golf. I guarantee you, she played golf.
She said I play golf. She said I play golf a lot.
Yeah.
So she was like, yeah, let me show you how to do it. And she was like, can you do me a favor? Can you hold my hair hold my hair back, so it's not in the way. And she was like, I have a hair tie, but I wanted him to get close and hold my hair back. There's a method to my madness.
Because it's natural. I bet you I'm the only one on here with natural hair.
Yes, she did say that.
She said that. She put out there.
Her hair was natural.
Her hair was natural, and she's the only one with natural hair. Now I don't know. That ain't my expertise.
I don't know.
I can't look at it. I'll be confused.
Yeah. So Clifton has a conversation. He says he's been divorced just recently, like 2 years ago. She was like, have you been in any relationships? And he was like, no, I haven't really been in any substantial relationship. Since my divorce, I just really needed time to heal. And everybody kind of pairs off because at that time, Joy is talking to Tori. Mm-hmm. And Clifton's talking to Carmen. And so Ace kind of just slips off to the side because she was like, everybody's paired up. And it's in both of these group dates, it was an uneven number. I don't know why they did that.
But they do it a lot. I mean, you see a lot of seasons they did it. They do it all the time.
I hate it.
Yeah,
I hate it because in this case, this is what you want to be aware of. And it happened here. Everybody don't do this. But Ace was like, I'm the type of person, I stay to myself. I'm cool.
No, I ain't trying to
Yeah. Well, not that you're not trying to deal with me, but I'm not trying to interrupt nobody's flow. And that's what she said later when Clifton noticed that she had walked off because he went to go check on her.
But, I mean, even with that statement, to me, if you're in this dating process and you're out with a couple guys and the numbers are off, sooner or later they should talk to you. But you got to realize squeaky wheel gets the oil. Mm-hmm. And sometimes out of sight means out of mind.
Right.
It is still a competition, right? It is still a game that you want to play. You want to be in the bottom three, or you want to be, not bottom three, but you want to be the last three. And you can't be out of sight. No, especially knowing that is a man's time to eliminate. You need to be doing, do what you do.
Yeah. And so, like I said, Joy is talking to Tori. They had a sex conversation too. Mm-hmm. Sex is very important.
Very important.
And Tori was like, well, what you trying to do? You it's so important. Like, I can have your kidneys touching. She was like, well, wait, hold on. I like my kidneys.
I like my kidneys.
I don't want them touching. I don't know about that. He said, no, I like to take my time. I like to make a connection.
She doesn't want anything to hurt. She wants to be enjoyable.
I really didn't. Anyway.
No, she did. I mean, that's what.
Yeah, no, but I was like, anyway, his comment, I was like,
yeah, his comment's childish.
Yeah, I don't know.
Childish.
So like I said, Clifton went to check on Ace at the bar, and she said, I didn't want to impose on anybody's connections. I'm good by myself. And he was like, yeah, imposition. That's what we're here for.
That's what we're here for,
to get to know each other and everything. And so again, we see Joy and Tori, kind of doing a little flirting or whatever. She said she's open to dating with Tori, but it feels like it's not going to give her that meat and potatoes.
It's not. He feel like not a type.
Right. Well, it's not like Clifton for sure.
Clifton bringing her butterflies out. She got butterflies because of Clifton.
Mm-hmm.
She feel tingly because of Clifton.
Mm-hmm. And so back to Ace, she says, I'm there to meet with everybody. But at the end of the day, for Clifton and Joy, is their connection.
It's Clifton and Joy all day.
So then we see the men meet up at the gentleman's lounge with Tommy.
Yep.
And, everybody meets Cornelius that hasn't already. And he said, so how was your blind date? And he said, it was a good date with Ace. We had a really good connection. Mm-hmm. Laverne, how was your date with Carmen? And he was like, yeah, I had a great date with Carmen. We vibed, and she's all touchy feely. She fucked on the glutes and the thighs. And he was feeling like this could be it. And Tommy's like, hold on, pump your brakes. It's other women. Don't get caught up in that moment.
He was pumping his chest like, look what I've done.
Right.
Look what I've done.
Right.
And I got some baddies.
Right. So Tommy's like, okay, guys, who you feeling the most in? And Tori said he's feeling Sabrina and Joy. Mm-hmm. Clifton's like, Dakia. And
right.
I think he didn't have to say Joy. Everybody know he's feeling Joy.
Everybody knows he's feeling Joy. But again, he wanted to be known that he's feeling Joy at the table. This is the man's first round table, right? He wants everybody to remember we just got Cornelius that came in. Mm-hmm. So he's letting everybody know I'm feeling joy. So stay away.
Uh-huh.
That's him marking his territory. It really is.
So for Paul, he says Dakia's cool. You know, she got a cool, calm demeanor and everything. But I feel like after 9, she turned into a thug, and it was like
they looked at it, they didn't understand the concept. They didn't understand it.
Right. Like you know, she could let her hair down, and you know she can, you know, rumble with the best of them. Wiley said he's feeling Dakia and Tiffany.
Yes.
And so then Tommy's like, well, who you not feeling? And Laverne says it's Sabrina because y'all was talking on the phone with her. She said she had to take a call, and I never heard back from her.
She never called back. She ghosted them. Don't call. Look, when you tell somebody you're gonna call them back, you got to take a call. Do me a favor. Call them back.
Yeah, at least for a little bit.
Or you just call back and say, yo, dog, man, I'm calling you back, let you know I'm still on this call. I'll hit you up tomorrow.
Right. Paul said he's not really feeling Tiffany. You know, I asked her some questions, you know, try to get some answers. I wasn't really getting any answers from her. You know, it was still kind of surface. She felt like she was being interrogated.
Yeah, she felt like she was being interrogated. She felt like you was doing 20, as she says later on, 21 questions.
But Clifton said he's not really feeling Tiffany either. Cornelius says the same thing. He talks about her, you know, slamming down the paddle. And he was like, I think she's got a really narrow definition of what it is that she's looking for. So yeah, no, not so much.
Not so much. And somebody else said her too.
It was Clifton, Tori, and Paul.
Paul, yeah. Paul.
And so I'm sorry, no. Paul, Clifton, and Cornelius. Tori said, you know, he said he wasn't really feeling a vibe with Carmen.
Yeah.
Demetrius said for him it was Dakia. You know, it's like she can't really take the boss hat off. Wiley said it's Ace. You know, he said I just couldn't get past the yoga. Like that's all she talked about. All she talked about was yoga and what she does. And he's like, you know, he couldn't really get over it. But Paul says he wasn't really feeling Ace. And Laverne was like, what you mean you're not feeling Ace? You know, she is like my piece. She's like the epitome of love. And she's like Oprah, Michelle, and Beyonce. She's all that. What you mean you're not feeling that?
And I'm looking at everybody looking at him, and I'm looking at him on TV like, bro, you went for Oprah, Michelle, Beyonce? You threw all these people into her?
What?
They
was like,
even Tommy had to stop. Like
Tommy's like, hold on, dude. Like,
you talking. You just talking.
You too wrapped up in it. Just that's a lot. He was like Oprah, Michelle, and Beyonce. He said you measuring up there just yet.
He said you're getting too hard. He said what he told him. He told him to there's a long process.
Right.
It's a long process, and don't put all your eggs in one basket. Explore other people, explore other things, and don't just settle right now.
Right. And so in the end, it's two ladies they had to go talk to. We see Tiffany saying, you know, I'm glad I get a chance to go out with Paul. You know, I'm excited. You know, I want to start over with him and try again. Hopefully he won't ask me too many questions. No.
They ain't having. Yeah, 15 minutes.
Yeah, she sits down. He starts asking questions. She was like, now look, I'm not getting ready to play 21 questions. I'm not getting ready to do that.
Anytime on the place.
Which, if only she knew, honey, you should not have said that. Because that's the whole issue right there.
Yeah.
He was like, you know, tell me what's one surprising thing about you. And she was like, you still asking questions, bro. Golly.
You still asking. And look, bro. She said, I don't want questions. I want things to flow.
Right.
You know, how was your day? What you know, what you're doing? You know, those type of questions. Not you know,
if the sky is blue and the trees are green.
Yeah, and what happened? Is the sky really blue? And then we really have stars. And if the star falls,
how does it make you feel?
Did anybody see it? You know, the philosophical, deep question.
Yeah, is this a therapy session? You know,
are you trying to get to know me?
But he said his thing is, you know, I don't want to ask meaningless questions because that's just fluff to me. Like I'm really trying to get to know you, so I'm trying to ask some insightful questions to get up.
But you ask those questions like, how's your family? Who you come? How many family members do you have? Do you have any kids? Where are you from? Those type of questions, not you know what you make for a living, you know, or what you know. Do you want just weird stuff? Like you said, the philosophical, you know, red fish, blue fish. You know?
Yeah.
So that type of stuff.
Yeah. So then we see Ace going out with Wiley, you know, and her too. She's excited to connect with him because, you know, they haven't had any time. So this is their time to connect. And, you know, she was like, I came in, I brought my A game, you know, how she looking. You know, she was like, I'm ready to bring it.
Yeah.
And so, you know, he asked her, what are you looking for? She said, I'm looking for someone that I can be all facets of myself. And, you know, they'll be accepting of that. And with Wiley, you know, he says, he's at the, what about you? He's at the point where he wants to start a family.
Yeah.
You know, that's what he wants to get into. And then like he just kind of gets up and walks over to her. You know, the guys had we met Tommy at the gentleman's lounge.
And he was like this close to, you know.
Yeah, he was very close with
me. The guys met, and we just want to let you know.
Yeah, and he was like, you know, he shared with her. He said a lot of the guys talked about, you know, this side I got to see you. A lot of guys hadn't seen this.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when we was talking about it at the gentleman's lounge, and we flipped back to Paul and Tiffany. And so Paul was like, you know what? You know, for some guys on the radar, you moving up, and some you moving down. And you know, we just came to a consensus that you're not ready to love. And she was like, "What the bleep you mean? I'm not ready to love?
What do you
bleep,
mean?
Bleep, bleep, bleep.
I'm getting out of here right now. At least she ain't come back. Whatever told her to keep going, she kept going.
Right.
We ain't had no other incidents, but she's
let me call my Uber. I'm ready to get out of here.
I'm ready to get out of here.
And she says, what? I look like in her vignette. Do I look like I'm bothered? Because I'm not bothered. You was bothered.
You was bothered.
You was bothered.
Oh, yeah.
Because she was like, I can't believe they didn't say I'm not ready to love. Why? Because I don't want to answer 50 million questions or whatever.
You're like, y'all gonna eliminate me?
Right.
Y'all gonna eliminate me?
So yeah, Tiffany was not ready to love. And so Wiley shares with Ace that, you know, you are ready to stay in this, and you know, keep going and keep sharing some of yourself, you know, sharing yourself with the guys. And so Ace says, you know, this is letting me know I can be more vulnerable and more open. And she says, so that's the way she's gonna be moving forward.
And
so,
I mean, I like Ace. I think Ace will be more open and more vulnerable because again, you was at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
You was at the bottom. That means you was almost going home. And that means the guys are voting you, not anybody else. The guys are trying to push. That means you're not doing enough for these men for them to keep you. So
you will have to do something different.
Yeah, they have to do something different.
So far, the only couple that we really see blossoming
is Joy
and Clifton. So I'm curious to see what will happen.
Clifton look like he's still playing the field though.
He is, but I feel like he's doing it because he don't want to get, you know, caught in the box.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's supposed to.
When you got to vibe with somebody, you got to vibe. It's like I told my husband, I said, I couldn't be on a show like that. Because I spot somebody that I'm into, like it might not be 2 or 3 people. But if I spot somebody I'm into, I'm gonna be like, look, I want to, yeah.
Okay.
But I ain't gonna be all Camille's like, don't touch him. Stay away from him. That's mine.
No, because you understand, because once again, you're mature enough to understand that it's a competition.
Right.
You're mature enough to understand that there will be other people who may like him, and that he would go on dates with other people. Now, when you get off the show, or we break it down to a point where you guys are exclusive, then you deal with that.
Right.
But at the beginning of this, man, don't catch no feelings because everybody's messing with somebody.
Yeah.
So.
Interested to see what happen going forward next week.
Yeah, and let's see what happens next week, May 8th. We'll see. There's another curveball coming.
Yeah.
They're adding 2 more people.
You should have just started with 10.
Should have just started with 10.
10 men and 10 women.
10 men, 10 women, and call it a day. I don't know why we keep getting these surprises.
But we'll see.
We'll see. Hey, before you leave, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell notification so you don't miss any of our reviews. None of them. So that's you right there who's thinking about hitting the bell. Hit it. Subscribe.
Do it.
Do it
now. Push the button.
Anime.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all. Good night.